So earlier today, I was out and about driving, and I was at a crowded intersection at a stoplight. And there was a woman who was jogging while she's waiting to cross. And the real icing on the cake here was that she had a nose ring. So having metal in her face, naturally, she's going to be a magnet to drama. And for anyone who doesn't know, nose ring theory is essentially this idea that women with nose rings or septum rings are unstable and allergic to any form of accountability. Now, on the opposite side of the street, there is an older gentleman who's probably in his 60s or 70s who was waiting to cross. And when the light flashes that you can walk, I remember he looks over in her general direction, not even looking at her. And we have scenic views here in the Pacific Northwest. It's kind of what they're known for, but this one was not quite as pleasant to look at. So he looks over at her general direction. She makes a very rude kind of face at him, a very rude hand gesture with both hands, almost like, what do you want? Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking in my direction? Meanwhile, this woman, which the first issue with this is that she's having no respect for her elders in the first place, but this woman is out in public wearing spandex shorts going on a jog, acting like she does not want male attention. It is the most backwards thing. And you see this a lot too with women in the gym, at least when I used to go to commercial gyms, where they will wear spandex shorts and have their whole torso revealed, and then act like they don't want male attention, act like they dressed like that in the first place with just did it for themselves. I don't think anyone believes that. Now, I thought to myself, why not investigate in this so-called fashion choice, the nose ring, and see what it's all about? And ultimately, an observation I've been able to make, what I've been able to derive is, everyone I've known in the past who has dated a woman with one of these things, with a nose ring, or even talked to her, has pretty much had the same thing to say in terms of her being unstable. But another thing is, which a very common thing was, high body count and unresolved trauma, which the trauma was really just, it wasn't even trauma. It was just problems that they were making up in their own mind. They were artificially manufacturing these problems. A lot of these women had life on easy street. They grew up in the $1 to $2 million homes with both parents in the household. They're driving new sedans and new SUVs, and they want to make their lives harder. Meanwhile, everyone else is the villain, and they're just misunderstood. Now, I used to see a lot of women like that when I used to use dating apps who would have the nose rings, and they would have the most ridiculous, probably worst take that I could think of in their profile bios, which shows you right there that they're not worth your time or worth taking seriously. And the other thing too is, because I'm not someone who likes the idea, I don't think men should be wasting their time on dating apps. I think they're just for validation, they're just for attention. Women that are holding out for a guy that either does not exist or would not be there in the first place, or even if they were to match with this guy or date him, they would think they can do better. And that's just the thing, this whole thing with wanting a guy who has these kind of accolades and above 6 foot so I can have a man that I could look up to. The only people that they look up to are their friends because they care so much about their image. That's what this is all about. The whole 6 foot thing, the whole 6 foot. That's no matter how you feel about it. Now, I could understand if a girl's 5'10", 5'11", but if a girl's 5'2", 5'3", 5'4", the notion that she needs a guy who is 6 foot does not make any sense to me. It is just about the image. She probably can't even tell the difference between a guy who's 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot. Now, in the area I'm in, from my own experience, as I'm kind of just digging and doing my investigation into this whole thing, I went to a local pizza shop that I used to go to a lot a number of years ago, and there's a woman who would work the front counter who was actually the daughter of the owner, and she had a nose ring. And I remember I had called in to pick up, and I showed up kind of early. It took about 15 more minutes, so it was later than expected. But she starts talking to me in kind of casual conversation, as mentioned to me. If you hear one of these women with a nose ring open their mouth, you're going to hear probably one of the worst takes on the planet. So I kept it very casual. But she told me to follow their pizza shop on Instagram just to support. And I said, sure, I'll do that. Because it's a place I've been going to for a while. I actually knew the owner as well. And that was the daughter of the owner. And I get on my phone later that evening, and I am bombarded by 60 different, almost 2-minute voice messages of this woman just venting and trauma dumping about her father, about her ex-boyfriends. Keep in mind, a woman I really don't even know starts doing that. The entitlement, the feeling of self-importance that you can just waste someone's time like that, taking into no account that men, that people have their own problems and their own things, their own family stuff going on, their own work stuff going on. They don't have time to invest in your problems. And that shows me right there, absolutely no respect for boundaries. I only listened to about 3 of them and then I stopped completely. I'm not going to sit here and spend an hour of my day when I have my own things to focus on listening to this stuff. There's absolutely no respect. It is extremely disrespectful to waste men's time like that. Now, when it comes to things like this is why people say fatherless behavior. Now, she had a father in her life, but she was clearly resentful towards her father. And I saw a new car in the parking lot every time I'd go there, so I figured it was probably her car. She clearly came from money. The guy owns a pizza shop. She's just trying to create these issues. And you see this a lot too, where they will have good people in their life. They'll have all these ex-boyfriends that they supposedly are the bad guy. Their family, their friends, not realizing that they are the common denominator. I see this label thrown around so much. Almost every modern woman nowadays seems to think that she has a narcissistic ex and that she's perfectly fine, well off. Meanwhile, they'll do stuff like this and bombard your phone and waste your time and lead you on, and it's everyone else's fault. Complete kind of boss girl energy, Miss Independent kind of energy. And the whole thing with, speaking of emotion and trauma dumping, I've been hearing this thing recently from women like this and modern women where they're trying to say that men need to be more emotionally vulnerable. And that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. First of all, if they were to be with a guy or talk to a guy and he showed any bit of emotion, they would think he's weak. They say he's not being man enough. They say he's being too emotional. So they don't even know what they want in the first place. How are they going to know what a man wants in a relationship? I've seen a lot of that, where they will ridicule men for having any form of vulnerability because they're so concerned about their image. Why would they want to be with a man who's somewhat vulnerable, right? And that's the thing too. I'm not going to be one of these guys throwing my self-respect out of the window just to get a woman or just to be in a relationship or just to have female companionship. Because quite frankly, I don't care. I'm focused on my own mission and purpose, my own family stuff going on. And I'm seeing more and more and more men now wake up. But there are still men out there who I see wasting their time with women like this, investing in women like this. They will have breakups and falling outs, which of course they always end that way. It seems like relationships are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. I remember when I was younger, if someone had a girlfriend, they'd be together for years, 2 years, 1 year. Now you see 2 months, 3 months, 3 weeks, because they're women that are not dateable in the first place. They're not. So they'll have one guy for emotional support like that, where they can bombard with their own trauma and their own problems in the middle of the night. They'll have another guy they like going to the gym with, another guy that they like going on dinner dates with, and wonder why they're going to remain single. And I've been seeing this a lot lately. You're going to see more of this. You're going to see this from women with nose rings and septum rings. These videos of women who will make videos in their cars crying when they're around the age of 35, 40, crying about how they are not married and they don't have kids and where all the good men at. And I want to clear something up too, because I see a lot of this kind of debated about the whole discussion of men getting better with age and women not getting better with age or it reaching a certain point. Now, when it comes to wisdom, when it comes to aging gracefully, that's something that I think you've always heard when it comes to men, right? Like I remember when my father started getting some gray hairs, he was saying, I was waiting for that. I was wondering why. I was almost confused. But with age comes wisdom. And it makes sense because even in my old neighborhood, the old neighborhood I used to live in, my neighbors had their father was 87 years old, and we connected. Very good dude, or should I say very good man? Maybe dude's a little bit too young sounding for him. But in all seriousness, every now and then we'll talk, and I will ask him advice on things. If I'm in a bit of a bind or I'm unsure about something, I will ask him his advice because he has the age, he has the experience, he has the wisdom. Now, of course, I don't bombard his phone with 2-minute voice messages 30 times over because I respect his time. But I understand that with age comes wisdom when it comes to men. Now, with women, on the other hand, obviously there are biological constraints with having children. But I think it's more to that. I think there's a lot more to that. And I believe that you see women, right, where they will be in their 30s and 40s, and they'll be the ones making videos like this, which is so hypocritical, where they will have work done to them, like lip fillers and things to their cheeks and things to smoothen out their wrinkles, to look like they're in their 20s. Now, they know deep down that they're most desirable at that age, yet they're trying to act like they're not. They're trying to act like that men are going to want them as they age and get older, or whatever it might be. Yet they must know subconsciously whether they're going to admit or not, which that's besides the point. All these procedures, I think, look absolutely ridiculous. If their friends were honest with them, they'd tell them that it looks bad. But you see a lot of that, and you're going to continue seeing that, especially from women with nose rings, with septum rings, which in the area I'm in, I would say, you see quite a lot of women with nose rings, and it's telling. You go to your local grocery store, your local coffee shop, and you're going to spot one without really any difficulty at all. But I want to end this video on talking about something too, because when it comes to women like this, there's no understanding of sentiment, of the significance of something, right? Now, if you guys can see in the back here, I have 2 colognes sitting on this dresser. One of them was gifted me by my friend Devin on my birthday. The other one was gifted me by my mom also on my birthday. Now, I don't care if they're $10 colognes or they're $200 colognes, right? I care about the sentiment of those colognes and what they mean. I remember I even had an action figure from when I was a kid that my mom found in the garden. We must have threw it or misplaced it somewhere back there, but from decades ago. And I have it in a drawer because of the significance of it. Some people might look at it as a piece of plastic, but I understand what it means. Now, when it comes to modern women, when it comes to women with these septum rings, and when it comes to dating, there is no understanding of sentiment, of the meaning of a relationship, because they want to waste men's time. They want to lead them on. And they want to always think they can do better when they have a perfectly good man in the first place. When they have a man who would be loyal, who would be a good father, who isn't going to go around doing things they shouldn't be doing. And that's the other thing with the high body count stuff too. If a woman has been with so many guys, first of all, it disqualifies her. But the fact that she's been with so many different guys and is still not taken, is still single, shows that she is the common denominator. The other men are not the issue. She is the common denominator. Just like with these women with nose rings complaining about their fathers, their mothers, their friends, their their 24 ex-boyfriends or whatever that even means now, because I don't know how long they were dating. One here, one there, 5 at the same time. Everyone that I know that has talked to a woman or dated a woman that has a nose ring has told me the same thing. It's the same tune. It's the same tune with them. And I hope that when people hear stuff like this, or when they hear stories from other people, as I did some investigating in the whole thing with nose ring theory, that they understand these women are not dateable. They understand that it's going to lead them to a place where it's time wasted, where it perhaps, and even with women trauma dumping like this too, they're going to make your life revolved around their problems. Like even listening to this woman from the pizza shop send me those voice messages after the other, even just the 3 I listened to, I just was so over it. And it was just draining to listen to. And me knowing that she comes from a perfectly stable household, it's absolutely ridiculous. You have your own problems. You don't have time to be distracted by this. If someone is going to derail you from family stuff, from your own mission and purpose, from things you should be focusing on, then get rid of them. Get them out of your life. That shouldn't be a hard concept to understand. And more men are waking up, certainly. You're going to see a lot less men going along with this. But as always, guys, I appreciate you for viewing the video. And this is why the whole nose ring thing, it's just telling. It's telling. It's always the same thing. Always the same thing. When I see that out in public, when I see the behavior when they open their mouth and talk, you can tell. And something I've been noticing, realizing is that you can pick up on people's energies, I would say, right? Like I'm sure you guys have all hung out with someone or you've been around someone and maybe you feel a bit anxious. Or maybe they are someone who is just draining to be around, right? Or they're just full of drama. Because I've had friends like that. I've had people like that in my life. And every time I have been within a certain amount of, if I'm talking to them at a cash register or any form of interaction, I just feel like something is off. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels that way. So, and I would just say this too. A good friend of mine said this to me where just follow your gut. If you see red flags like this, if you feel like something's off, just follow your gut because it's likely that it's right. So, as always, guys, appreciate it. Appreciate you for viewing. Hope you guys have a good one. Thank you.